few years ago, I went to this church service on a Sunday night, and the preacher said something that has stayed in my heart. And basically what he said was, a young man by the name of Eric Sims, I'm not even sure of the name of the church, but it was downtown. And he said to me, not to me, just his sermon. And I don't even remember like the name of the sermon, but this is what I took away from the whole night. The whole worship service, the whole message. I took away this right here. And he says that you don't need the affirmation of the church. Christians. You don't need the affirmation of the church. And that was mind-blowing to me. He never dogged the church out, like the church, plural. Never dogged the church out. But it was encouraging to me because my background and the way I was raised was that you honor God and you go to church and you get married, have kids, have a good career, that kind of thing. And you devote a good bit of your life to church. And recently I broke up with church. The church that I was attending, rather. I'm still a part of God's church. And it was one of the hardest decisions that I made because it was similar to when I got divorced. Like, the first question was, am I letting God down? Am I disappointing him? Am I a heathen? What about the people in the church? I always felt like that maybe cutting ties with the ministry would diminish my place in God. I questioned that, and was I hearing God? Was I making the right move? And I mean, ever since I left, I felt like I was doing the right thing, because honestly, and I'm not dogging nobody out, but like the relationships that you, in the indoctrination of so many things, so many different things, a lot of it is just personal preference and had nothing to do with God. Nothing with what he really wants us to be like. And so with my struggle to leave that particular ministry, I struggled because as a codependent, I always felt like, well, maybe it's something that I did that was wrong. Maybe I missed it. And I'm accustomed to shifting or overanalyzing, ruminating about what did I do wrong? What could I have said? What could I have? So I think that delayed the process of me actually leaving. And but during my quiet time and journaling and all this other stuff, I do feel confident more than ever that I did do the right thing. And for not only myself, but for my children, because what God is doing in my life and healing codependency in me is allowing me to set boundaries, stick to them, how to have a healed love, a whole love. And I think that my children need to see that. They need to be able to see that no matter what the relationship is, even if it is with the church, that it's not healthy and God didn't tell you to stay, it's okay to leave. It's okay. It's okay to start over again. It's okay to not know, but to trust him with every step you make. So, yeah. I feel like as a codependent, being a people pleaser and like just thrusting myself into everything about ministry was a way to redeem myself. And because of me not seeing myself the way that God sees me and not forgiving myself for decisions that I made in the past, I felt like the more I could do for church, which is good, that somehow this would save or redeem me in God's eyes. But what I came to know is that I'm already loved. I'm already chosen. And God made a decision to love me before I was born, and he didn't change his mind. And abuse is abuse. I'm sure there are things that I didn't do well or handle the right way while I was a part of the ministry. But as with any relationship, people get comfortable with, you treat people how, you show people how to treat you. And I believe that's what I did. I came to the ministry very low self-esteem, an abusive marriage, poverty mindset, and just honestly just feeling like if I could just do more, then God will see my efforts and he'll rescue me from the hell that I was living in. People in the church, they prayed for me. They assisted me in so many ways. I ain't gonna even lie, y'all. I can't just this was a horrible, horrible experience. But I think, the way I showed up in the beginning is it was the expectation for me to stay that way and just to kind of be everybody's ego booster. And kind of just be like all things at all times. And in return, I just wanted to be in their company. I just wanted their affirmation. And yeah, I wanted it from the church. I wanted it in my pastor. So in my desire to have the father figure, I believe that I allowed myself to have magical thinking, and in that magical thinking, I feel like I had unrealistic expectations of people being able to give me only what God could give and things that I needed to develop within myself. So my time at the ministry definitely gave me thicker skin, and it showed me another side of God. I got to know him for myself, because crying out about how I was doing all this for him and just feeling forsaken and kind of feeling like I didn't matter no matter how much I did. I think was in those moments where I really found the Bible verses to come alive in my life. Like beyond the pomp and circumstance that goes on, the theatrics that happen in church sometimes. I got to know him riding in my car 4 a.m. praying and crying out. I got to know him at the edge of my bed, hoping and wishing that he'd come and deliver me. I got to know him through long walks in the park and devotionals and sermons on YouTube. And I got to know him hiding in my car before I entered the house again. I got to know him at Josh Lounge on Thursday nights, listening to the band play such angelic music, and I felt like I was in worship. I felt that God was there. I got to know him in the swimming pool, learning to swim and to trust that although it's something new, it's something that I can do. When my feet wouldn't touch the ground, that I would still stay up, trusting that he had my back. Even when I didn't, and I couldn't see. I got to know him through my children, who'd ask me questions, who'd look at me, sometimes not even say a word. But I understood that their silence was questions. Oh, we gonna make it, Mama. What's next? I got to know him through journaling. Strangers in Walmart. So I'm grateful for every prophecy I ever received while I was there. I'm grateful for the money and the time that was spent poured into me. It's time for me to grow up, you know, and to really heal for real. And I couldn't do that. Showing up as my former self. The new me was fighting the old me constantly. Like, no, this is not you anymore. Not better than anybody. But you matter. And so yeah. Don't need the affirmation of the church. At the end, I got a certificate. Say you went the extra mile. But I think about all the miles that I wasted. Letting people step on me. And just didn't add up. So I'm proud of me. And I'm definitely out here faithing it. I didn't come this far to come this far. Trust what God says about me, and I will become who he says I am.